Offered by Mr. Gosar of Arizona.
Pursuant to House Resolution 1316, the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Gosar, and a member opposed each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Arizona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise in strong support of my Amendment 15 to the fiscal year 2025 State Foreign Operations Bill. Amendment 15 prohibits funds for the bilateral security agreement between the United States of America and Ukraine. The bilateral security agreement between the United States and Ukraine was signed this month by Joe Biden and Vladimir Zelensky. The security agreement erroneously implies that Ukraine is a democracy, despite being an authoritarian country that does not even allow presidential elections. The agreement also reaffirms, quote, that Ukraine's future is in NATO, end of quote, even though the prospect of Ukraine joining NATO is one reason the Russian-Ukraine conflict escalated, on top of other things. While war hawks and neocons are further provoking conflict with Russia, they are also cheapening their golden calf, NATO, by advocating for Ukraine's admission in the alliance. The agreement further states that, quote, it is the policy of the United States to support providing sustainable levels of security assistance for Ukraine in support of the objectives outlined in the bilateral security agreement and associated implementation arrangements, end of quote. By putting pen to paper on an executive agreement, Joe Biden is doubling down on billions more in future taxpayers' support for Ukraine. The United States has $175 billion in emergency support to Ukraine so far, while the invasion along our southern border goes ignored by this administration. When is enough enough? Only Congress should have the power of the purse. Under the National Emergency Act, we see that the President and the executive branch actually share that power with us. We should not be strong-armed by an executive that wants to further drag America into another forever war. Let's put this administration in check. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on my amendment, and with that, I reserve.
The gentleman from Arizona reserves. What purpose does the gentlewoman from California seek recognition?
Mr. Chair, I claim the time in opposition.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
I rise in opposition to this amendment, which is an attack on our commitment to strengthen our security and economic cooperation with Ukraine, as well as to pursue accountability for Russia's actions there by prohibiting funds for implementing the bilateral security agreement recently signed between the United States and Ukraine. No specific funds are committed through the security agreement, but the signal that this amendment sends to the Ukrainian partners is damaging. And I ask for a no vote, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman from California reserves. The gentleman from Arizona is recognized.
Yes, there's a great message, Mr. Chairman, with the sends. It says time for peace. P-E-A-C-E, peace. When are we going to stop these forever wars? Why don't we get out on top of this aspect and really come out clean with the American people? How does war even start? Did anybody tell that the Russian Putin president actually went to NATO twice, or to the UN twice, to say, listen, there was an invasion in my country where 14,000 of my citizens were killed? I have no fond respects for Vladimir Putin, but he has a right to protect his people. And with this, I say that this sends a very clear message. It's time for peace. In fact, I was one of those people that actually offered that. Cactus League in Arizona is a great time to have people out in Arizona to watch baseball games, and you can talk peace afterwards. But it's time for peace, not war. I reserve.
Gentleman from Arizona reserves. The gentlewoman from California is recognized.
I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman from California yields back. The gentleman from Arizona is recognized.
I yield back, but I ask everybody to vote for this amendment.
The gentleman yields back, and the question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Arizona. Those in favor say aye.